Like I've said in my subsequent videos, I am dealing with a very unreasonable defendant. Defendant that, those type of defendants, they will say that, yes, this exhibit says I'm guilty. But they will still like lie or try to say, no, I don't know what you're talking about. So you have to, and there's this rule that say, he who alleges, he who asserts must prove. The burden of proof is on he who alleges. In as much as if the defendant says no, normally the burden of proof is supposed to shift on the defendant, but in civil case, right, they will still shift back the burden of proof on you. So if you say the defendant said I'm mentally unstable, for example, and the defendant said no, I did not say that. So in as much as you want to say, oh yeah, use proof that you did not say that, the body of proof lies on you to say that this is it, he said it. And if the defendant say no, this is not my handwriting, the burden of proof still lie on you to prove that this is this person's handwriting. So when you are proving that this is this person's handwriting, you need to have a paper to show sequence of this person's handwriting prior to this date. So that means you have to prepare a claim and a counterclaim. So when they say no, it's not. See, in 2020, Kinikon, this is your handwriting. In 1994, this is your handwriting. So 10 years apart, this was your handwriting. So how do you deny this? You understand? So what me have experienced is file all your documents. People can deny anything, and sometimes they might not deny, but they will just like try to shift. They will not say yes or no. So the thing is, in civil lawsuit, right, they actually when it comes to exhibits, they're actually two rules. One is balance of probability, and then the other one is beyond reasonable doubt. When it's civil lawsuit, you are dealing with balance of probability. That means you just need to tilt the scale slightly towards your end, 51%. So the thing is, in front of the judge, you are here. So the thing is, you argue, my lord, this is what they did. All of you have 50%. So the thing is, the first person to have 51%, the first and only person to have 51%, that's the person that is winning the case. So, for example, in a land document, I don't really know about land document, but let's say somebody has C of O. This one too has C of O. Then this one has deed of assignment. This one did not have. This one don't have one edge on top this one. Let me just use it as an example. Please, those of you that you are good with land disputes, please don't come and say it's not like that. I'm just using it as example. I'm a medical student. I'm just using it to explain, because land is what people are like familiar with. So because this one has two documents and this one has one, this one is a winner. But the thing is, sometimes you can even have 4 documents and one person will have 1 document and it will supersede your own. And that's because any documents you are filing in court must be relevant. So if they say, okay, who is the owner of the land? You're supposed to bring everything pertaining to the land. You cannot go and bring maybe a picture of, okay, you were cleaning the land. It does not justify you are the owner. So your proof of your burden of proof have to be relevant to the case that you are proving. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So that's how you do the judgment, or you understand? So that's the burden of proof, 51%. But then if it's a criminal matter, it's actually beyond reasonable doubt. You have to give the court 99% that this is the person that acquired the person, or this is the person that did this, or this is the person that, like, criminal. 99%, like, you have to prove everything, where the person was at 2:45 a.m., 3:55 a.m., all those, this thing, like, beyond reasonable doubt. And the court believes on reasonable man test, because they'll feel like, okay, this person has this evidence, this person has this evidence. If we show a reasonable man, we do also feel like this person is guilty, right? Or that this person is saying the truth. But in criminal case, there are 99% that once they see that, so even in criminal cases, even after they do fingerprinting alone is not enough to say somebody did something. You need other evidences, because the person can say, I just opened the door to go and drink water. Can't I open the door again? So you understand what I'm trying to say. So in civil case, it's easier. But in my case, because I'm dealing with a very unreasonable defendant, I move towards the 99% beyond reasonable doubt. So that's the one I actually move towards beyond reasonable doubt. Like, all the document that is relevant to this case, I give timestamp, one by one, how it happened, according to beyond reasonable. And that's what I would advise anybody. When you're filing a civil suit, make sure that there are no gaps in your exhibits, right? Try to give account for everything. And another thing I did differently is like try to do advanced abuta. Like if you know that there are gaps in your exhibit, make sure you address it. Make sure you prepare for what the defendant might respond. Because if you don't address it, the defendant will take advantage of that gap and use it against themselves. Do you understand that? So you have to prove or draft their advanced abuta in advance. I hope you understand that. Just to explain. So what are the pretrial bundles? So for you to start a lawsuit at all, the first document that you need is writ of summons. Though there are two types of civil suits. We have the one that arises by originating summons and the one that is not originating summons. So I'm talking about originating summons. So the first document that you need is the one that arises by originating summons. And then number two, the one that sorry, I'm talking about the one that actually arises by originating summons. So the first document you need is originating summons, or they call it writ of summons, depending on what they call it in your jurisdiction. And another thing I'll tell you is any documents that you're filing as your civil lawsuit, you need 4 copies, right? 4 copies. First copy for you, for the defendant, for the court, and then extra one for yourself. Depending on where you find yourself, if you find yourself in a system that they make use of electronic, you might not really need extra copies like that. But me, I would say advise 4 copies. Because sometimes the court might lose your copy. And then, so the extra copy you have at home. Because if you're saying, my lady, I filed this thing in court, they'll say, where is the evidence? If the court does not have it, you have to have the stamp. So it's always advisable. But the thing is, anytime I'm filing a lot of document that has a lot of pages, you know, printing outside the country is very expensive. So what I do is, I do 3 copies, one for me, one for the defendant, one for court. Then I just do the front page. You know, it's that front page that they will stamp. So whatever is behind is not concerned them. So it's just that front page that I will stamp. So just in case they lose it or anything, I'll take the front page of that one, I'll attach it to my own copy and say, my lady, I filed it. So that way, you know, because it was me that printed it, I still have the draft on my phone. Me, I can always read from my phone. Even if I'm going to court, I can take my pen and paper and summarize what's me. I already draft, put it in a pen instead of typing all those pages and wasting money. Do you understand? So that's what I just do. I just do the front page instead of the entire document again. Yeah. So writ of summons. This writ of summons has to be 2. Is front and back. Don't do 2 page. They will not accept it. In most jurisdiction, the front and then the back, and it must have endorsement of claim. Don't worry, my subsequent videos I'll show you sample how to draft it and everything. This one is just the explanation, like the theory part of it, like just to get you acquainted. So that one, writ of summons, is like writ of summons or originating summons is like you summoning the person, and most times it starts with you are commanded in the name of Chief Justice to come within 14 days. Like I said, I'll show you. And you know it's front and back. Front, the front we have the person commanding you, the court they are commanding you to, the address, then the back we have your claim, what you are demanding, $50 million, at the back, something like that. The next document that you need for filing a civil suit is